You know, everyone is happy to tell you what doesn't work from their perspective. And when you ask people what you're doing is demonstrating a commitment to them and demonstrating that you have their interests at heart, and that boosts mirror neurons. You have to examine yourself lies in your credibility. And like a nickname, you don't determine your own credibility. Other people determine whether you're credible or not. So the real insight to me came from this lecture, 2002 BBC Reef lecture called A Matter of Trust. Honora O'Neill is a British philosopher who's made her career in largely talking about bioethics. But what she did, she was talking about the lack of trust in the media in Great Britain at that time and whether there was a crisis of trust. And she really laid out a framework for what credibility really means. And credibility really depends on two things: acting with a lack of deception and a lack of coercion. So, you know, what does this mean? And how do we do this? Inadvertently most of the time. Because I don't believe we do this intentionally. I think it just happens. We need data that's capable of even providing insight into the question at hand. And it has to be believable, but it has to be believable by those who are impacted by it. In healthcare, for instance, we do satisfaction surveys, and this is a prime example of potentially deceptive data. And coercion comes when we don't devise standards in the right way, by suggesting or imposing standards that make being successful in someone's work responsibilities more difficult. And this usually plays out as unintended consequences that we haven't recognized or not bothered to seek out. To act without coercion implies a commitment to tease out the options that enable every involved party to be successful in their responsibilities, even if those options are not immediately recognizable. And this is the significance of the spirit of Kaizen, translated, of course, as change for the better, but with the implication that it's better for everyone involved. Our response then takes two steps. We need insight to the others. We need to discover what they need, not what they want. And these two questions bring that out. Finally, and then secondly, the insight into yourself. Are you acting with credibility? So you examine what they need, you examine what you're doing. And then finally, you can reach a shared outcome. And here you can find what you agree on, and that gives you a place to start with what you can agree to. By the time you've answered these questions, everybody's in their prefrontal cortex. They're ready and able to participate in the next step toward improvement. So as we wrap up here, let me just say that to me, lean is about taking a process, using a machine, which is PDCA, based on the fulcrum of time, to move that process forward. But it's respect for people based in credibility is what drives the whole system. We think lean works because it exposes problems so that we can deal with them, and it certainly does do that. But I believe it's because it exposes resistance so that we can reconcile it. Satisfaction is the process by which we do that. And it is a process to work through satisfaction. And this is rooted in the way our brain works. The key to doing this is by supporting your mirror neurons. So that's how lean works. But why lean works? Because it reflects the way our brain works and contains countermeasures for when it doesn't work so well. So in conclusion, you know, in a complex dynamic system, for operators on the cell to be autonomous as regard to their logistics, as the early TPS engineers were trying to achieve, it takes more than just what one operator is doing. This invites conflict and resistance. And if we aren't actively embracing resistance, we miss the best opportunity we have for the kind of creativity and innovation we need. When there's resistance, I believe the gap is a lack of credibility among all the stakeholders. The point of cause is in the hidden brain, and the root cause is the imbalance with our mirror neurons. If we want to be more successful at shepherding change in our organizations, we'd be well served by focusing there.